He's often known as the country's first modern president. And let's take a look at why.
Strive to bring ever nearer the day when there shall prevail throughout the world the peace of justice. There are kinds of peace which are highly undesirable, which are in the long run as destructive as any war. Tyrants and oppressors have many times made a wilderness and called it peace. Many times, people who were slothful or timid or short-sighted, who had been enervated by ease or by luxury, or misled by false teachings, have shrunk in unmanly fashion from doing duty that was stern and needed self-sacrifice, and have sought to hide from their own minds their shortcomings, their ignoble motives, by calling them love of peace. The peace of tyrannous terror, the peace of craven weakness, the peace of injustice. All these should be shunned, as we shun unrighteous war.
You know, the mark of a great president a lot of times is someone who is able to use a lot of power but still accomplish what he set out to do. And he uses that power in a way that you can look back and you can actually say, well, he didn't overreach. He actually used it in an appropriate fashion. Theodore Roosevelt is one of these presidents. He's often known as the country's first modern president. And let's take a look at why. The Monroe Doctrine pretty much said we are going to stay out of European junk. Europe's been fighting forever. They've been fighting before it was Europe, when it was Christendom, when it was just a bunch of barbarous tribes wishing they could be the Roman Empire. Europe has always been fighting. So Monroe says, you know what? While our country's in its infancy stage or childhood or something, it's a young country, we're going to stay out of European junk because it'll give us a chance to grow up. And that was the perfect message and the perfect policy for the time. But foreign affairs change, and the countries of the world are growing closer and closer together. I should have worn my Iron Man shirt because it's being very Tony Stark, right? You guys have seen the movies. An iron suit around the world, the end game, peace in our time. Tony wants to end war by fighting war and creating inventions and creating systems that protect and prevent. This is what Roosevelt is thinking of. His great white fleet. Yo, let's have the biggest guns. So therefore, when it comes time to negotiate, we can negotiate aggressively. We can negotiate a way that other countries cannot. And this is no different. He's saying we want a peaceful world. But that day's not here. And he said that, you know what? People who are afraid to fight the good fight are actually as dangerous as people who are starting unjust wars. Peace is good, but peace at the expense of a whole lot of war later, we should probably fight the preventative war. Roosevelt says, you know, it's easy for us in our luxurious, comfortable lives because the economy is good, America's improving, things are going well. It's easy for us to say it's not necessary and it's wrong to fight when we are the ones who are looking over our shoulders. We're not the ones who danger is at our doorstep right now. But Roosevelt also says we have to understand that if we allow tyrants to grow, if we allow bad things to continue to swell, eventually it could affect us. We know that Roosevelt had no problem getting involved in things in North and South America, in the Americas, Panama, Spanish-American War, etc. But he's saying, hey, listen, if we turn a blind eye to injustice anywhere, are we living up to our ideals? Roosevelt's actually very idealistic, but I believe that he's wrapping his argument now in some practicality, in some realism, in some keep it real. Keep it real. The peace that turns its eye to something that's unjust, that's not cool. Keep it real. The peace of, I'm just afraid of the tyrant, so I don't want to fight him, that's not cool. Keep it real. The peace of, we're weak and we don't want to show everybody that we're weak, so we're just not going to fight, that's not cool. He said that we should avoid those types of peace like we avoid war. So what do you think? I don't want to ask you about Roosevelt, let's ask about right now. Do you think the United States sticks their nose in too many countries' business? Do you think the United States is doing the right thing by choosing different scenarios to intercede to benefit the world and sometimes to benefit us? Our interest. Thanks for tuning in. Always like, share, subscribe, and we'll keep coming back to you. All you special message, all of you HistoryHeadz YouTubers out there, you want to break down one of American history's most influential documents, most influential speeches? Let's do a collabo. Let's take some primary docs. Let's break them down so all of our students can enjoy. It's Mr. Walsh, HistoryHeadz. Be good to yourself.